Hey there, guys. The last couple days we watched a couple new movies. Spy starring Melissa McCarthy, as well as Kung Fury from Kickstarter, which we're gonna talk about anyways, despite the fact that we probably shouldn't because that movie was shitty as fuck. Anyhow, Aiden, I guess we'll start with Melissa McCarthy's Spy, since I already gave away that Kung Fury is shit. And hopefully people will forget that by the time we get back to our review, so they'll be surprised. But, so let's go to it, man. What is the plot synopsis for Melissa McCarthy's Spy, starring Jason Statham, Melissa McCarthy, and others, including the girl I thought was Hermione at first.
Spy?
Well, it wasn't. I would also like to point out that that movie freshly came into theaters.
Yeah,
You know, the girl
fresh.
from Black Annie, who
That
dated
what?
the
Okay,
Django
yes, I
Unchained.
get you now. I
thought
get you
she
now.
was Hermione. I thought
Okay,
that.
that's not.
Well,
don't
I
know
mean,
how you
she's
could
British and
possibly
it's a
think
spy movie.
that.
And
Yeah, okay. No, they don't look anything alike.
Yes,
but
they
okay.
do.
Not,
They
not
did
at all.
to
Really,
me.
no.
No, I think you're
Anyway.
about like a 12-year-old Hermione because they look exactly the same to me.
Anyway.
I don't know. I haven't seen her in years. You know, I haven't really seen any new movies with her because she just does hipster ass movies right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Anyway. Spy is by writer and director Paul Feig of Bridesmaids and the future Ghostbusters movie. And it is a it's like a play-by-play of a James Bond movie parody, except they added jokes about vaginas into it. So Connor, what did you think of Paul Feig's Spy?
Well, Paul Feig's Spy has generally been greeted with really good reviews, and I was kind of
Better than it
impressed to
deserves.
see it at 80%. Thanks for ruining my thing I was saying before. You know, can't ever let me
sorry.
speak.
I'm sorry.
Can't ever let me.
I'm
get my
letting you
point
speak
through.
right now.
Can't let me.
You
get through
interrupted
my point.
yourself.
No, you interrupted me by saying that
Okay,
point,
it
which
doesn't.
I was
It
gonna
doesn't
make.
matter.
Obviously, I was
Doesn't
setting it up. Aiden.
Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
Just
kind
get
of
back to
does. It matters to me. Anyhow, it's generally been getting very good reviews, and I didn't really like this movie that much. I lost my train of thought because Aiden was being a Paul Feig. But anyhow, no, I didn't like this movie. It was pretty bad. Melissa McCarthy kind of was. It was kind of a play for play on what I figured it would be, which would be like a lot of like Melissa McCarthy runs around and does fat jokes and feminist jokes. She had a tranny friend. There were a lot of pointless twists and turns. It's like, oh, this person was shot and it was a traitor. And by the end, there were so many twists and turns and so many plot lines. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention well enough or what. But by the end of the movie, I couldn't tell what plot lines they just completely ignored because, you know, I wasn't confused by it, but it was like, okay, this is a comedy. You don't need 700 twists where the guy is like, obviously I knew the guy betrayed her and then he betrayed the betrayal, and then there were other people that were barely established that were like bad guys, and they were established in like one scene. Like there's this spy that they were like, oh, she's such a hottie and she's a good person, and then all of a sudden the best spy, and then she's evil, and we're supposed to be surprised, and then they kill her after like 2 seconds. So it's like the spy was established for 2 seconds, and she was a traitor, but we only saw she was a traitor for like a second before she died. She didn't do anything important. And then it begs the question, why did they bring all these unimportant, shitty plot lines into this movie? Like, they couldn't just follow the core plot line of a James Bond movie like they were, like play for play. I'm sure if I put on Casino Royale next to this movie, it would be play for play. But I mean, I don't know if the joke was that there's so many traitors and there's traitors all around and they're trading and stuff. But it was just over the top and shitty. And then on top of that, they put 50 Cent in the movie, and 50 Cent just hasn't been relevant for years. So I don't know what they were trying to achieve there. Because 50 Cent, I mean, hey Shorty, it's your birthday. I mean, that's what he's famous for, you know? In the end, that's his legacy. And it's like, do you really want to taint your movie by putting 50 Cent in it? And 50 Cent makes jokes about how he wants to fuck the girl that I'm pretty sure is a tranny. I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone or any group, but I'm pretty damn sure that bitch had a dick. Yeah, she had an Adam's apple. she looked like a dude, and I thought they just didn't like acknowledge it because they were being polite. Because it's a movie, and they wanted to treat her well. But I think the joke was that 50 Cent liked to fuck a tranny or just a really ugly girl. They did acknowledge she was ugly repeatedly. She herself did, because a lot of women, when they don't know how to do comedy, it's funny to call yourself ugly because most women wouldn't do that or something, or wouldn't do it with, or maybe the joke is that all women call themselves ugly, and even trannies call themselves ugly.
All right,
I don't know, but so I really like, and then there were a lot of things like one-off gags I disliked. I'm just gonna finish off my thoughts because otherwise this will go way too long. Like the pink eye joke. There was this joke where she had pink eye in one scene, and the next scene was 5 minutes later, and her horribly infected pink eye was gone. And I was like, Aiden, if they get rid of that pink eye, I know this movie's just Family Guy lazy ass shit.
But then they brought the pink eye up later too.
They kept bringing up the pink eye later, and it was like 10 minutes later, or like the next scene was like. It appeared to be like a 10 or 15 minute time lapse, if I'm not mistaken. That's what it felt like to me, and she just didn't have pink eye anymore. Like, I guess, okay, you know? Like, continuity just didn't really matter in this movie. Another one, she drove through cement on a moped, and then literally the second she was out of the cement, you could see the cement on her wheels, and then there was a shot from a different angle, and the cement was gone. Like, literally a shot change. Like, how do you forget that? Did you film it in a different day? Did you switch mopeds? How does that happen? Like, seriously, did they just film a shot one day and they're like, okay, we'll do the other shot with the moped from a slightly different angle on Tuesday, you know? It's like, what the fuck were they doing?
See, the one that really got me was the primary villain most of the movie is the woman that you thought was...
But she turns out to be kind of a good guy at the end, too.
Well, at first they're like, okay, we can't kill her because we have to get to the terrorists. But then at the end, after they have the terrorists, they're just saving her, and she starts saving them, and she's pulling out guns and shooting the other terrorists that she was trying to sell a nuke to, and...
They still arrest her at the end, but
yeah, but there was a point...
I mean, considering she was selling nuclear weapons, they were, like, laughing. They're like, you're going to jail. It's like, no. You sell nuclear weapons to terrorists that could use it to, like, cause world extinction. You're probably going to get sentenced to death. I mean, at least put in, like, an ultra-security terrorist prison, but at the end, Melissa McCarthy's like, oh, you jokester!
I'll see you when you get out, girlfriend!
Yeah, basically. She's like, maybe you could be a spy for the CIA one day. And then everything, too, they way over-hinted at their twists, their hundreds of twists that they did remember to do.
He's not really dead.
Like, it would be like, wow, she holds her gun like a beginner. You can get away from this. And then he's like, he fake dies. And, okay. So that's my thoughts on this movie. I mean, I guess it's not the worst comedy I've ever seen. I mean, on, like a scale, like...
Better than Johnny
like,
English.
If I had to do, like, on a scale, Young Frankenstein to Dumb and Dumber 2, Anchorman 2, or in Johnny English 2, it would be slightly over Anchorman. It would be, like, somewhere between. It would definitely be over... It would definitely be over, Johnny English 2, but I think it would be under Anchorman 2. Now, no. I didn't like Anchorman 2. Anchorman 2 was pretty bad. Yeah, but at least you have Will Ferrell, and Will Ferrell's sometimes funny. And Kanye West made a guest appearance in the movie, and Kanye West's my favorite person on the planet. So, I mean, just by that factor, I have to give it a better score. Although it was kind of a cash-in piece of shit. Although this movie was a cash-in piece of shit.
This movie
Kevin
was
Feige is what's Kevin Feige?
Paul Feig.
Paul Feig is really into using Melissa McCarthy. I mean, because they know he knows he can just use the same period jokes and add a new background.
I'm fat, but I'm
still like
flexible.
She's a brighter character. She's a bright character, but makes a bunch of fat and period jokes. And it's like, oh, in this movie, she's a janitor, but she makes a bunch of I'm fat and independent jokes. And now she's a spy and makes... now she's a Ghostbuster. Yeah, exactly. So it kind of felt like, yeah, just another one of another Bill Feig cash-in, on my opinion.
Paul Feig.
I changed the name like 14 times.
Okay, yeah.
My bad. So yeah, what did you think about this shit-ass piece of
shit, after you ranted for about 20 minutes, let's see. Like I said, there was the The main villain becomes good at the end for a while. But overall, the movie was pretty shitty. There was very little entertainment value. They did some. I have to say, there was a pretty distasteful one where she kills a guy and then throws up on him.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of distasteful killing jokes. I forgot to mention that. If you want to talk about that briefly, go to that bag of marbles.
I mean, really, the more bizarre part was that everybody would laugh in the theater every time someone was killed. Like, someone would get shot in the head and there would just be uproarious laughter and clapping. Like, the first one was a joke where she throws up on the guy after he gets impaled gruesomely. But then after that, people would just get, like, shot in drive-by shootings, and the audience would just start laughing and clapping.
And she got some random dude killed. I think the guy with the purple tie... Was the guy with the purple necktie a random dude that Melissa McCarthy got killed?
No, he was an assassin. That's why.
But why was he trying to assassin her? And
because
when did we learn what side he was on?
We didn't.
Again, it was just random shit. Like, random people trying to assassinate her. And then the whole time, they knew Melissa McCarthy was a spy, the main villain, who turned out to be good at the end. And she was ruthless and was murdering people earlier. But even though she knew the whole time that Melissa McCarthy worked for the CIA, she never did anything about it for no reason. And then when they did find out, she could have killed her at any point, but instead she tied her up for no reason.
I have to give them some credit on that. When the guy's throat melts, they made that look pretty good, you know? If they'd put that in, like, a horror movie instead of this shit-ass movie, you know, it was a cool effect. It was nice to see, but other than that, yeah, the movie was shit. Basically, they're like, hey, you get spy gadgets, and she's like, oh, do I get a pen that explodes? And then they're like, no, you get vagina cream that explodes. Ha ha ha. And that was the entire movie. And
that's another thing I really disliked was every time we saw, like, Melissa McCarthy. Okay, what was I thinking of? Then it'll come back. Oh, yeah. Every time Hermione would, Jesus, what am I... I'm trying to, just gather my thoughts. But, like, scene for scene, her characterization would completely change. Like, one scene, she would just be ultimate evil person, mastermind. Then the next scene, she would have, like, autism and be walking around, like, talking like an idiot the whole time. And, like, how she only cares about clothes. One minute, she's an ultimate assassin. The next minute, she's like, I just want to sell this nuclear bomb so I can buy my Gucci.
And then she's playing Candy Crush on her phone and is making loud texting noises. And they're like, it's Candy Crush, not texting, silly.
Yeah, then they did have a lot of jokes like that, where it was like, who you texting, just randomly, and it'd be like, I'm playing Candy Crush, and I felt like I was watching an episode. TM. I felt like I was watching an episode of, like,
Modern Family.
I wasn't thinking Modern Family, I was thinking more like Family Guy. I hate when comedies do that Family Guy feel, where they just do a random, like, kind of somewhat of a cutaway gag that has nothing to do with anything. And yeah, I don't know. So that was really my thoughts on Spy. I don't know. Do you have anything else you have to say?
Oh, it was pretty bad.
Alright, so then the question is, Aiden, what is the best and worst part of Melissa McCarthy's Spy?
Well, the best part was definitely that throat melting. That looked good. That looked really good. The worst part was, oh wow, that's a tough choice. The worst part was probably just having to sit through Melissa McCarthy telling fat jokes and ugly jokes and vagina jokes. Really,
pretty general.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess. Oh, also, all men in the movie were incompetent. That was the other thing they were really big into.
Oh, actually, can I change my favorite?
Yeah.
I like Jason Statham. I didn't like him that much in this movie, but I like Jason Statham. I think he's funny.
I mean, I'm going to say my favorite part was Jason Statham as well, actually. Jason Statham, he's not a great actor, and I didn't know him from, like, anything but Expendables. I think I learned about him.
Fast 7.
And
Furious 7.
Furious 7.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah!
He was the
Smiler! I forgot about that. I totally forgot. Yeah. No, I just like Jason Statham because, like, I look at him and I'm like, you know, he's just a good guy, you know?
There's something.
I feel like the whole time when they were making him incompetent, I just liked when he was telling those stories. I actually thought that part was somewhat funny when he was telling about his random stories and shit. And then, I didn't really like how they made every character in the movie incompetent. I guess my least favorite part is when they just shoehorned in 50 Cent for no reason. Like, they're like, guest starring 50 Cent! And I felt like I was watching Saturday Night Live or something, and they're like, wow, 50 Cent, you're the best super spy in the whole world. And 50 Cent's like, no problem, you can use my helicopter anytime, you know? I'm not making PS2 games anymore, so I don't have much on my hands. I might as well... Can I please be in Ghostbusters 2? Come on, man.
Ghostbusters 3.
I'll be the secretary in the new Ghostbusters, just whatever. It's like, no one likes 50 Cent's music. If you're telling yourself that's a lie, you know? You really like, hey, Shody, it's your birthday? That's your thing? That's your thing? If that's your thing, then like 50 Cent all you want. But
he should play Winston in the new Ghostbusters. Melissa McCarthy
racist.
in the cast.
They obviously already have a bunch of independent black women, so...
Really?
Basically on
like all of those black women in Hollywood?
Precious.
Oh, the one in Pitch Perfect too, as well.
Actually, no. There's a decent amount of black women in Hollywood.
Medea.
Oh my god! Okay,
Could you imagine?
Now you're hitting the tranny mark. You know.
Could you imagine if they actually did that? It's the cast of Bridesmaids and Medea as the Ghostbusters.
No, I can see them doing a male Ghostbuster in the second movie. I know there's going to be an all-male team for the spin-off since they're making it a universe, which is just terrible. Oh my god. We should have a universe rant. A movie universes rant after this.
The DC Cinematic Universe.
The DC Cinematic Universe, the Ghostbuster Cinematic Universe, the Pornhub Cinematic Universe, you know?
Okay, I would like my porn to be more interconnected.
It's like... It's like Tony Huge Dick. We need to have a meeting in my office. Then it's like Tony Ultra Dick. Anthony Ultra Dick is in the office talking to Tony Big Dick, and it's like we have some emergency things to talk about.
Honestly, at this point, you're kind of losing me.
I don't know. I got confused. All right, so those were my least favorite and my favorite parts. So yeah, should we go on to?
Would you recommend this movie? I think the answer should be obvious.
The answer's no.
No, I wouldn't.
I think the answer's no. It got good reviews. I guess if you like Bridesmaids, it was probably your thing. It's probably the audience that really liked it. I just, you know, at 80%, you know, I thought I wasn't gonna like it going in, and I think that about a lot of movies. And usually I'm right, but at 80%, I thought maybe these guys struck gold. Maybe they made a good movie. And then at another point, when I was sitting in the theater watching, I really started to think, maybe reviewers just lost their edge, you know? Maybe they just, you know, they lost their edge. They don't understand anymore what makes a good movie. Because I've seen good movies, or decent movies, that I've personally liked, get really bad scores. And then I'm sure Avengers 2 has 80% too, you know? Or 70. At least 77 probably would be my guess for Avengers 2. Right about there. And I hated that movie. So, I guess I didn't... I don't know what I said in the review, but I strongly disliked it. I know I said I didn't hate it as much as I hated it the first time, but I still didn't like it. Anyhow, should we just go on to Kung Fury, or did you recommend or just not recommend it yet?
No, definitely don't go see it. Let's talk about Kung Fury. Do you want to do the plot?
All right. So Kung Fury is basically a movie that I just want to give the backstory. It was funded on Kickstarter, and Kickstarter, in my opinion, is the stupidest fucking thing in existence. It's a way for people to beg for money to try and get their creative projects out there, which generally is a bad idea because A, you don't have producers making sure you're not doing stupid shit, you have no one keeping you accountable for it, and C, you're not spending your own money, so if the project looks like shit, it's like, oh, I wasted a little time, but you're not out $50,000. It takes out of the creative process and makes it a lot easier to get a shitty project or no product at all if the creator feels so inclined. And obviously, you guys could look up Kickstarter horror stories and read about 1,000 of them, or you could just play Mighty Number 9 or watch this movie. Oh, that was a diss. But this feature-length Kung Fury movie came out to a magical 31 minutes, and basically it's a movie that's.
Do you mind if I say the cost?
It's about, yeah.
$600,000 for 31.5 minutes.
This movie is filmed in front of, based on the running, which it's supposed to be a joke that the running looks like they're on a short green screen, but I would guess they had a 10-foot strip of green screen in their basement, and it just kind of, they did like a corner of their room green screen or something, because the movie doesn't look like they had a lot of green screen, and it actually looks like it was made on a much shorter budget. I want to point out that most Asylum films that are feature length are about half of what this movie costed, and you're buying actors. The creator is the main actor here. So the question is, where did the money go for the $600,000? Probably in pocket. But the other thing I just want to say about this movie, so actually let's just get into the plot. I'm done with my Kickstarter.
Yeah, I'll
you want to do the plot?
Yeah. If anyone has seen the original trailer or the Kickstarter trailer, you'd know that between the two or three trailers, there was about 20 minutes of video before the movie was filmed. All 20 of those minutes, or before the movie was funded, all 20 of those minutes appear in the movie, along with 10 extra minutes entirely shot in front of a green screen. The plot is literally non-existent, and it's just moving action scene to action scene.
Well, can we at least explain somewhat what the plot is?
Okay, the plot is a ripoff of Danger 5. He goes to kill Hitler because Hitler makes kung fu arcade machines, and he goes to a place that has dinosaurs, and he rides on the back of the Viking.
Okay, I'm going to say the plot, because you're just doing a Kickstarter rant that I thought we were done with. Basically what happened is there's a guy, and he's the Kung Fury. His partner gets killed. And then it turns out Hitler also does kung fu, and he's a cop. And then he travels through time and stuff, and he meets a couple of these LOL meme characters. And that's about it. That's about the whole plot. That's all Aiden really needed to say. So, Aiden, what did you think about Kung Fury? Let's get into our thoughts. Or, although you did your entire rant about your thoughts early.
Absolutely fucking terrible. It looked bad, which, for a movie that has no plot and was just supposed to be like a terrible CGI fest, it just looked terrible. Besides that, they didn't really do the whole 80s thing well. They didn't attempt to do anything really 80s. It was like more 90s pretending to be 80s. And it had terrible VHS filters over it because they're like, this movie looks like shit. Maybe it'll look good if we just fuzz it up a little. And the plot was almost non-existent. They kind of just did random shit. They wanted $1 million to make it an hour long, and they only raised $600,000, so it was 30 minutes long. It's a nice quick watch, available on YouTube. And it was terrible. Also, the main actor, also the creator, could not act to save his life. He was an actor pretending to be bad at acting, pretending to be a good actor, pretending to be a bad actor who was a bad actor.
That wasn't even accurate. You were saying random shit. I mean, for that part.
Yes, it was. He's a terrible actor, and he was pretending to be a good actor, pretending to be a bad actor.
Why were you pretending to be a good actor?
I thought the whole idea was that he was supposed to be like Bruce Willis pretending to be a bad actor or something. Or maybe he's just a terrible actor and I'm misinterpreting his intentions of making a shitty cash-in movie for money.
Well, okay. You just, okay. Pretty much, if I can get into my thoughts, actually.
I haven't said because in like 5 minutes, so go for it.
Basically, Aiden made a long rant that made no sense to me. It basically, this movie had about 6 characters, probably 12 actors, and it was in front of a small strip of green screen. Where the money went, I don't fully understand, because in all honesty, green screen. There were some shots that looked like it would be expensive, but I feel like they just hired a CGI art director and paid him a couple $1,000 to do the shots. A lot of it looks like it was capable in After Effects. I mean, maybe there was some that was somewhat hard to render, but I mean, generally it didn't look like this amazing, unbeatable thing. It was okay. No, it wasn't okay looking. The CGI looked actually pretty horrendous. I couldn't tell if it was on purpose or not. Then it was supposed to look like it was a VHS. I think the thing that really bothered me the most was it didn't really make sense why Hitler had to be the main villain besides LOL Factor, you know? But they decided Hitler was the main villain, and Hitler didn't even really do anything Hitlery, so why he was the main villain made no sense. It's just, I think nowadays it's just easy to make a main villain that's just Hitler. Like Danger 5, the idea was that they were fighting Nazis, and so it made sense that Hitler's the main villain, you know? If you're fighting the Nazis, Hitler's a good way to climax a movie. But they weren't fighting Nazis, so it made no sense. I mean, why did Hitler want to do Kung Fu, and why did Hitler not act like Hitler? He had no motives. It's like they wrote the movie as a character. Like, it could be any character. Like, his name was, like, Tommy Death Guy. And then, like, after the fact, they're like, wait, before we film this movie, what if we change the name from Tommy Death Guy to Hitler? And they just went with it. And that was my biggest problem with this movie, is a lot of it just kind of seemed like random to be random, and people are like, oh my god, it's so funny because it's Hitler. But using Hitler as your movie's villain is almost a cliche nowadays. Like, it almost starts to bother me just because of that. And it's like it doesn't seem like you're doing anything new, really, because all you're really doing is you're, you know, I don't know. But, so yeah, a lot of the CGI was horrendous, the acting was horrendous, the whole thing, it was just pointless half the time. Like a character would do something, and then he'd be done doing something, and then they would be having fun. I don't know. It made no sense. And then he did the classic "I don't need a new partner," and it was just like a half-hour cliches, and
then it ends on a cliffhanger so that they can get another 600,000 for no work.
Hitler flew by. It already has 14 million views on eBay, or on YouTube. Why did I say eBay? YouTube. So I'm guessing it'll make $1 million for its next one, because people are easily tricked by LOLs and memes and stuff. I mean, it's at 14 million. It's gonna spread through Facebook, and it's gonna become, you know, it's gonna become a big thing. I mean, it was dumb as fuck.
It's the same way Sharknado. It's like, oh, it's so bad. They're intentionally making it bad, so it's funny. Look at how bad this looks. Sharknado 5. Return of Sharknado.
You look at Kung Fury, and you can do a cheesy Kung Fu movie, but what you do is, if you name your movie after Kung Fu, then make it an actual Kung Fu movie. Or, if you want to do that 80s style, do like a Double Dragon thing where someone just cheesily goes through the streets and tries to find their main villain. Make them over the top if you want. I'm not saying cheesiness is bad. I'm saying cheesiness when you mix 100 genres for no reason and are incapable of making a plot, acting, etc.
And refuse to step off your green screen
and then
for a single shot. It's
just embarrassing that, like they made this movie and he did everything for the movie, and at $600,000, if I had $600,000 to make a movie, I probably wouldn't need to act in my own movie and be not only an actor but a main actor in the movie. Really, it just like if you can afford that, you could have anyone play Kung Fury. And really, if you're a director and a good creator, you should be behind the camera more than you should be behind in front of it. You know what I'm saying?
Plus, they paid David Hasselhoff not only to appear in the movie, but to write a song for the movie.
Yep.
Just blowing through that money.
Yeah. No, I'm sure they spent all the money, but they wasted it. That's the point. It's like, did the Kickstarter people, it's like, to make this movie, it's like, do they give a shit if David Hasselhoff makes a 2-second cameo? Makes a shitty song for it? No. I'm just saying, I've seen a lot better movies that were actually full length, done for way less. And you know where else they could save a lot of money? If they did practical shots, because a lot of the things like the Nazi fight scene, you have 5 Nazis in a room and then he does kung fu against Hitler. It's not a challenge.
Hey,
Hi.
Hey,
you still work at 1 today?
I'm just gonna go into 2.
I know I was gonna cook a pizza, but I won't anymore. Or I will. I'll put it in a minute.
I don't care if you cook one.
I'll throw it in a minute. Why is everyone on Titanfall so bad?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Everyone just kind of sucks.
I'm in second right now.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm not really paying attention though.
But usually you're just curb stomping. People just kind of suck at this game, even though it's piss easy.
What? Oh my god. Of course you see me at fucking Titanfall.
Alright. What were we talking about?
It's funny that if you adjust for inflation, a fistful of dollars, which is 3 times this movie's length, was made on a budget of about $1 million and starred basically the most famous person worth making movies at the time.
I mean, if it's full of dollars, it's pretty damn classic. I mean, I guess if you do adjust for
Inflation, and then you times this movie by 3. I mean, so it'd be the accurate length. I mean, if you want to make a fistful of dollars worth movie. No, but we got it graded on this level. It had $600,000 and it was as long as an episode of a TV show. Was it really worth it? Oh, and I want to point out that none of the 5 actors are famous or did anything important, and it was all filmed on a 5-foot green screen.
Yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, it was probably. Well, I mean, it was basically a huge
And then the
scam.
question
I mean,
is,
that's really what it
If
boils
you're
down
doing
to.
an 80s style movie, wouldn't you want more practical effects? I don't know. You don't know?
It was
Is it
basically
really a hard question?
It was basically just a big.
Yes,
big old
you should
scam.
have more practical effects if you're making an 80s style movie. That's it. Okay, what's your favorite and least favorite part?
My favorite part was. My least favorite part was the fact that the whole movie was filmed in front of a blue screen. Besides that, the guy that got to play Thor was weird and old, and they kept complimenting his biceps even though he was wrinkly as fuck. The best part of the movie was. Was the music good? I can't remember. I don't know. I don't really have anything good to say about the movie.
Alright, I guess I was kind of impressed that that opening sequence was done before they got any budget, the one with the Transformer, but I guess they must have just bought it on credit and assumed the movie would get funded. Because there's no, they probably kept the money back, you know? Like, they might have actually had passion for this. Actually, no, I doubt anyone had passion for this project. That's my least favorite part, is that there was no passion in this project. They didn't do anything that was warranted. Like, what warrants an 80s movie? Because he was wearing a headband and an old leather jacket and used the Power Glove? Like, making shitty Nintendo references, even though you've never played an NES, doesn't warrant a good movie, you know? Called being a hipster and a faggot, and, you know, I guess my least favorite part is definitely the fact that Hitler was the main villain. That was a cop-out. Yeah, Hitler's the main villain.
Also, Hitler
especially
didn't really
an
look like
undeserved Hitler. And it was the guy from Lonely Island. That's another spot the money went to.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was one of the guys from
God.
Lonely Island.
No wonder it didn't look anything like Hitler.
Well, you have to get a funny actor to play Hitler. Especially when you put him under pounds of makeup.
I like how the Danger 5 actor looks so much like Hitler that's weird.
Not really.
He's pretty damn close.
I mean, he has the mustache.
So, would you recommend Kung Fury?
Hey, stop playing with your fucking water bottle. It's annoying as fuck.
Sorry, would you recommend Kung
Can I
Fury?
finish? I wanted to finish my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had one.
You just didn't even let me speak because you just
Okay, I'm sorry. Go.
making shit
Go
up
for
and
it. Go
doing
for it.
stupid
Go for it.
rants
Right now. Right now. Go.
with no
Go.
backing
Go.
material. No, can you shut up for once? Jesus Christ, you're annoying.
Go.
My favorite part of this movie was... Oh wait, no, I already said my favorite part. My favorite part was that somewhat impressive opening CGI scene that they bought on credit, but, you know, still, for $600,000, you'd think they would have been able to make something better than that. And yeah, so I hated this movie. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, it's free, so I mean, if you want to look at it, but I don't remember if they did have ads on it. I'm sure they do. So you're probably just putting money in their pocket every view you watch. So, I don't know, you know. It's also kind of cop-outy that they're like, oh, you're $400 short, so we're not going to make it, instead of making do with what we have, we're not going to make it an hour. That movie did not take multi-million dollars to make. Honestly, if I had $5,000, I could have made that movie.
I mean, you can go through the movie, and you can see every point from pre-Kickstarter that was in the trailers, because it's all there, and it's most of the finished product, quote unquote. I wouldn't recommend it either. I mean, it's 30 minutes and it's on YouTube, so you don't lose much, but it's really not even worth a watch.
Alright, so we know that this isn't...
Sharknado.
So we know that this isn't a good movie. Do you think this was a laziness reason they gave up? A scam? Or do you think they just legitimately wanted to make a feature film and ended up with a script that translated to a half hour?
Well, what I can actually... There's so much stuff in the movie that was already in trailers before it that I'm going to say they made these scenes and they're like, this is a really cool stuff. We can go to Kickstarter and make a full thing out of this. And then they realized...
like the Thor scene and stuff.
They realized, hey, we have no way to connect these. We can't figure this out. It's going to be really hard to write a story around this, so why don't we just make a few more action scenes and call it a day? I mean, it was part scam, part stupidity, part... I don't know. In the end, it was just a lot of issues that money couldn't solve.
I think money could have solved it. Money and actual brains.
Well, the actual brains is probably more important than their
You
free
think
money.
instead of wasting money on David Hasselhoff and Lonely Island, they could have hired someone that would be able to decipher the script and make a good movie, but I mean, I guess
Well, I mean, they didn't really...
David Hasselhoff and Lonely Island are cheap enough.
The movie... Describing what happened in the movie as a plot is pretty loose. It was basically just the main
Oh, no,
character
it was
teleporting
memes.
between action scenes.
I wouldn't say
He's like,
teleporting
oh.
between action scenes so much as teleporting between memes.
Well, yeah.
They also
that-
tried to make everything look like a video game too, which was another gimmick they did. It was like 100 different gimmicks. It's like, pick your fucking gimmick. Is he
But
a
I mean,
80s
like-
action hero, a kung fu hero, or is he big into video games and does all this?
The
video
worst
game
part to
stuff?
me was he ends up in the land of the Vikings, I think they call it, and they're like, oh, laser dinosaurs that shoot lasers, and then they're like, we have to go see Thor, and they ride on the back of a T-Rex, and they just all stuff from the trailer.
The
that
funny
they
thing
couldn't
is they
figure out
could have
how to-
added a story too. Like they could have added a conflict in there, or maybe like the time machine part. And literally, it's like he appears there, and he's like, "What the fuck?" Then he talks to those two girls for like a minute, and then he's like, "I need to find a way out of here." And they're like, "Let's go to Thor." And literally, how they traveled to Thor, instead of having anything that showed that he traveled, all he did was they got on the laser dinosaur, and there was one shot of them walking directly across the screen. It didn't follow them; it just walked one end of the camera to the other end of the green screen. You know, like just one end to the other, and then they were at Thor, and it's like, congratulations.
And then Thor
Like,
teleports
nothing
into
happened.
Nazi Germany. There was
Literally, there were
pointless.
three main shots. I'm not talking about actual camera shots. I'm talking about like if we're breaking that scene down, there were three main sets. There was the set that they walked across, which was them traveling. So they traveled across that, and then they talked to Thor, and they talked to those Vikings ladies. But there was no point for him to go that far back in time. They're like, shit, I'm too far back in time. This is bad. But really, it's like, why is it bad? Because you had no conflict when you were there. You just talked to a random girl that literally showed up in front of you, who took you to Thor, who magically teleported you there. It was like...
I mean, it
made
was
no
the same
sense.
thing with
Not to
when
mention...
he quits. When he quits the police, whatever, they introduce the T-Rex, the human with
the
the
new
dinosaur
partner.
head, and then he's like, "I work alone." And then at the end, the guy with the dinosaur head comes back and says, "Cool."
He also
And
had
it's
a
over.
dinosaur head for no reason. Well, no, he appeared at the fight scene. He's like, "I want to be your buddy," and then it's like, why
Yeah,
does he
but
have
still,
the
it was
dinosaur
just as
head?
little.
Why does he have a dinosaur head? Except it's random. I mean,
Because
like,
Danger
is this
5
movie
did it.
trying to make a reference? I don't know if it was actually ripping off Danger 5. I don't think it was.
I mean,
I
humans
think
with dinosaur
yes,
heads.
I think it.
Hitler.
Okay, how about memes, dude? Hitler is not uncommon for movies to do. Danger 5 isn't the first person to do Hitler.
Yeah, I know, but
Everything
everything
that
that
LOL
happens in this movie
Okay,
happened.
here's
in
how they
Danger
did the
5.
process. They're like, wouldn't it be funny if we put a dinosaur head on the body of a thing and never explained it? Sure. Who should the main villain be? Paul the Death Killer? Nah, fuck Paul the Death Killer. Let's make it Hitler. That's how they made this movie. I don't think it was inspired by Danger 5 because it could have ripped off the jokes better. It could have made it funny, and maybe if they watched Danger 5, they could figure out how to make a coherent parody.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think about this entirely shitty movie that had pointless scene. Everything was pointless. I mean, there were action scenes that weren't, but generally this was pointless. So that was our rant on Danger 5. Which was worse? Or would you? Oh yeah, we already didn't suggest Danger 5 or this movie 15 minutes ago. I suggest Danger 5. But which was worse, Spy or Kung Fury?
Probably Kung Fury.
I wouldn't even say probably. I wouldn't go as far as to say probably because it is obviously Kung Fury. I mean, I think, like, at least
Kung
even though I
Fury.
didn't like Spy, I feel like people were passionate about that movie. Like, I feel like it wasn't a complete cash-in.
I feel like Melissa McCarthy and Paul Feig really like to work together.
I think they actually liked it and they actually wanted to do the movie. I just personally disliked it. Like, it didn't seem like they were having a bad time or they were just Adam Sandler cashing in, you know? But, I mean 50 Cent was cheesy in that movie. But, I mean, he was cheesy and pointless, but he was the most cheesy and pointless thing in that movie except the massive amounts of twists. I don't know. Whatever. I hated Kung Fury.